Well,
Well,
Tom, I think we're on
on
here.
here.
How you
How you
doing,
doing,
brother?
brother?
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
You
You
sound
sound
good. You
good. You
sound
sound
crisp
crisp
and
and
clear.
clear.
My
My
internet's
internet's acting
screwy,
screwy,
so I
so I
apologize in
apologize in
advance.
advance.
No worries at all. Hang on one second. I got to change a setting on my end, I think.
Okay. Do your thing. Hey. Okay. The
Nope,
one
nope.
thing.
We're good.
All right, Tom.
All good, my friend.
Just go back and forth for the next half hour saying, "All good." Okay. Okay. Hey,
Are we
what's up,
good?
Jason? Yeah, we're good. We're good. Are you good?
Is
Are
it
you
good?
good?
Are you
Is it
good?
good? Are you good, Joe?
Who's good? Are we good? Are we ready?
Uh-huh.
Is it
We're,
started? Are we on? Is
we're
this
good.
thing
That's
on?
what we should host a show on April Fools. Johnny, you could do that too. And on just for 1 hour, just go, are you good? Are you good? We good? You on my internet? See how long you could keep
I
people
think we're
on.
about ready to get started here and just keep doing stuff like that.
Yeah, 45 minutes of the same thing. Hey man, so we got a lot. We were going to talk about storytelling today. I wanted to, you were talking about the arc of a story. I wanted to bring up that TikTok is banned in 2 states now. Imagine that. Ban an app where people dance gets banned. Uh, so they are stealing my 13-year-old daughter's secrets, I presume. So probably not a good thing. You imagine that there's the fear that they could be stealing millions of little kids' IDs and things like that. Yeah,
I actually, I'm out of the loop here. Which states banned TikTok?
I don't know. Anybody, you guys have an answer for that? Who banned TikTok? I just saw it this morning.
How can you ban an app that works basically on a VPN and its operations are in the US? So good luck with that.
Yeah, 2 states said, and who
Uh,
knows?
one of
Maybe
them,
the
one of
go on.
them's Utah. I believe one of them's Utah. They've been trying to ban TikTok for a while because of its um, affiliation with China, and there's a whole theory behind what's going on with TikTok. So I won't get into that. However, yes, they are trying to completely do away with TikTok due to personal information that's being stolen. China watching us, and it's turning into quite a mess. So
I got to ask, just because I want to go down. I'm going to go down this a little bit, and not political. If anybody goes political, we're muting you. But what kind of information could you steal from a 13-year-old girl? I mean, they don't even have. They barely have emails. I mean, what kind of access are you getting there?
All right, Dom, I came up to answer this question
Okay,
because
Johnny, good. Bring it on.
I
Because go on.
I deleted TikTok.
thank you, because I didn't want to go down this road, but I'm here to listen. Thanks, Prof.
I deleted TikTok for this very reason. Um they when you download TikTok to your phone, you give TikTok access to every section of your phone's data points, which includes access to banking apps.
Boom.
And they can steal banking information, they can steal contact information, they can access any data point on your phone through TikTok, and it's in the user agreement. So the security risk is immense, and I just decided not to participate.
Okay, very interesting. And I just have to ask, this security agreement, is this like, have they posted this or do people see? I mean, I understand like we could say that we saw it or somebody told me about it, but there is something saying, hey, your phone is, fully ours now.
Well, that is one theory. And they are able to access. Even some are saying your medical health records, as well as government data access to United States, very, very secured information on the United States. I did not download TikTok for that reason, because way back in the day, I did some research on it, and now state by state by state, in our country, they're filing lawsuits and starting legal systems for banning TikTok. So, and yes, if you have little children, I would be very, very careful. Oh, wow, Tom, Don, we're going into the deep waters here, buddy.
No, hey, this is interesting because, like I said, I don't want, I just, one, I would love to see that. I would love to see from their website where it says that, but where I'm really why this is interesting to me.
Well, and
Let's go.
that's part of the problem, Dominic, is that they don't have a public document that comes right out and says you are giving us unfettered access. But the way, experts that I've talked to in the world of cybersecurity and app development have, and you can find article after article on this from respected sources, not clickbait sites, that the way that the app is built, the way that it is designed, it is designed to take over and basically mine data from your mobile device. That's its purpose.
But that's the whole purpose of the smart device, because if you look in the user agreements on Android, iOS, even the Google, you're giving up all those data points, and it's in every single app that you're going to use. And the real sinister stuff is this collection of data gets sold to third parties and auctioned, and this isn't an accident. This is by design. I mean, I'm not going to go down the conspiracy rabbit hole, but we have to really consider that one of the bigger than this TikTok news. Have you guys heard of what's called Chat GPT? You know what these AI softwares are doing?
I've seen a little bit of this, Jason.
Okay.
Go on. I mean, you
And
can
this
like
affects storytellers.
ask it to write Tom a story on legendeering, and it would make an article in like 10 seconds. It's crazy. Go on, Jason.
Well, this creates a big problem in authenticity of authorship, because you're not the true author of any published article, email. You're not. You're giving away something as writing for you and not using your own words. And this is dangerous because there's no ethical design. Kids could use this writing their term papers, and it could be acceptable, and they're not really learning. It's just making. I think the AI oversight is not there. There's no regulatories over it, and the governments are not going to do it because they'll lose money. They won't address these things. But like, you look at Jasper, you look at Chat GPT, which Gary Vaynerchuk, he just produced a post on his IG, was it yesterday or the day before, talking all about it. Chat GPT exploded yesterday, people downloading it. They had a room here on Clubhouse talking about all the possibilities. They're talking literally 1 trillion different data points that they've collected data over the years, or of last couple of years, how to create an artificial person. And it's causing alarm bells, in my opinion, but it's going to affect the storyteller. Heather was in there too. She was listening to it, and we were talking about it last night in Rocky's room, that what Chat GPT represents in these AI softwares is who's originally the author. How can you prove that you really wrote what you wrote? Did you do the research? There's a lot of plagiarism and all kinds of stuff coming along with it. So yeah, it's going to affect the storytellers.
Hey, man, and that's what this room is about, storytelling. And when I started asking you about this originally, like, I had written down in my notes here, I'm looking at it. It says TikTok's getting banned in multiple states, Twitter's on the ropes, and sometimes they'd say that in sales. I was in sales for 20 years, still consider myself in sales. Sometimes you would ask somebody something and they'd say, well, I got to ask this person, or I have to ask this person. And you would think you were with the decision maker, and then they would really come up with it. We call it like smoke, where they would say all of a sudden they needed to ask somebody else. So the question I had for you today is, where does that leave us? Like, this thing goes away, this thing goes away. Well, you still have the story. So how do you share it these other places? And that's where I wanted to go. So okay, they go away. Are you gonna let that end your business because one of these platforms goes away or end your content creation? No, there's so many great ways to share content. And I wanted to dig into that and see what you guys thought about it. And we can continue down that road. But that was where I was really heading. So Tom, where do you weigh in? I know Tom's in the background because I have the benefit of looking at Tom and he's handsome as can be. He's got his Iron Man shirt on. And so watch on the live stream. But I can see when you guys start talking about that stuff, I see his fingers going like crazy. And I know that he's Googling and researching, probably has multiple computers up trying to find facts. So go on, Tom.
So, I mean, first of all, when it comes to TikTok collecting data, there is apparently, and I'm not a coding expert. I have not examined TikTok's code. The last time I even touched a piece of code was in the one computer programming class that I took in college. But apparently there is some code in the TikTok application that could be used to allow TikTok to track keystrokes on your device, which means that if they can track keystrokes, if you type in your passwords, if you type in credit card information, if you type in banking information, then they could capture that data. That doesn't mean that they necessarily are, but it could be possible, right? Here's the caveat I would put on all of this concern about data harvesting is that it is, or context, not caveat, context, is that it's nothing new. Every single social media app harvests data. That's their business model. We are the commodity, right? We are not the consumer, we're the commodity. They are selling our data. That's how they earn their money, right? Whether they are actually selling the data to third-party companies, which Facebook has done, Twitter has done. I think LinkedIn is one of the few that has not done that. But like any of the other, like Instagram has done, like they've all sold data sets to third-party platforms or companies. The other thing that they do is they use that data to target advertising towards us, right? That's how they actually make money. Odds are good that any app you've ever downloaded to your phone or even your computer that's 100% free to use is selling data, because that's how they're making money. Because look, like nobody's going to dedicate resources. It can take tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to really develop a good app, right? And put it out and get it out into the public sphere. No one's doing that altruistically, right? They have to make that money back. It's a business. So they're making that money back by selling your data. So if it doesn't cost you anything to use the app, there's a good chance they're selling your data, right? That's just the business model. So the TikTok is not the first one to do this. It's not new with TikTok. TikTok is yet another example of social media commoditizing, which I think is a word, our data, right? Or us, right? Or our behavior, the data about our behavior, right? So we become the commodity. And the other thing to just bear in mind with all of this too, that I was listening to a podcast the other day. They were talking about social media. And what's interesting was that if any of you guys remember, I know I remember back in the day when Facebook first kind of came on the scene, it was referred to as a social network, right? And MySpace was referred to as a social network, right? And what's interesting is social networks are not inherently digital, right? We all kind of have social networks in our lives, right? We have groups of friends, we have groups of colleagues, we have business networks that we engage with, right? We have these social networks that we are part of that aren't digital. Facebook was sort of the first big digital social network when they established their business model, when they started selling advertising space and they started selling data and using our data to target that advertising. then they that was when they kind of switched over from social networks to social media, right? So anything that's a social media enterprise is a for-profit business that is harvesting data to sell that data either to third-party platforms, third-party users, or to use that data to sell advertising space. So like this is nothing new, right? Is they're concerned because TikTok is owned by a foreign country that we have an adversarial relationship with? Yeah, absolutely. Right? But like don't think that like Mark Zuckerberg is a good guy and China is a bad guy, cuz I hate to break it to you, but good old Zuck is no friend of mine or yours. So that's just kind of my thinking on all this, all the hand wringing on data with TikTok. It's nothing new.
Good stuff. Hey, when me and my wife are sitting like watching a TV show, like one of these 90-day fiancés or something like that, and something happens where it gets intense, I lean over to her on the couch and I yell, or I don't yell, and I say, "Juicy," and that's how I feel about this conversation right now. It's getting juicy. So, thank you everybody for being here. This is not the smartest guys in the room, obviously, because I would know these answers otherwise. Okay, let's. So we're going to talk storytelling. We're going to talk apps going away. What are you going to do then? So, Deshaun, what do you got for us, man? Weigh in on this stuff. I think that's where we're at. Go on, man. A quick segue. There you
Going
go.
once.
Once, twice, eight. Okay, Deshaun,
there he
you're
is.
up. Then Joe. Okay, go on.
Sorry, I was on I was actually on TikTok.
He's posting about TikTok on TikTok right now. Yeah, there you go.
So I remember in 2020 when they were talking about banning TikTok, and me and my friends was all like, my friend was like, you know what, they need to leave TikTok alone. It's like, well, if TikTok goes away, they're always going to have a backup um, outlet that's going to be similar to it, which they did create. And it was, I forget the name of it, but I actually had it for a while. And it was like an imitation TikTok, but it was not as good as TikTok was. And so if TikTok goes away, granted, for me, that's 15.4 thousand followers I lose that I can try to start converting over to go to my Instagram or to my Facebook page or to my Twitter if they use Twitter. But it also takes away the ability of me making short 15-second videos and just being myself and throwing in life lessons and being able to when I can't sleep, just going through and seeing something that's going to entertain me. So when I hear everyone's like, "Oh, TikTok is taking information," okay, what about this app that everyone else has used on when they've taken their face and they've created this cartoon? That's a digital facial. They're doing the exact same thing. Granted, you may have to pay for a subscription, but they're taking this exact same information. So there's nothing out there that we don't use, whether it's Netflix, Hulu, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever it may be. There's something that they're taking, and when you go through and you hit the agreement for the terms and conditions, you're signing something away. That's the one thing that we all have to realize. Whether we read the terms and conditions or we just scroll through them like most of us do and just hit I agree, because no one wants to sit there and read 3 hours worth of small print, we're giving up something. So if TikTok goes away, there's going to be another platform that eventually steps up and imitates what TikTok is currently doing to provide entertainment, and short form videos. So that's my intake on it.
Truth, brother. And I wonder, hey, I would encourage anybody to get on your reels right now. I would bet Heather, our algorithm friend, I would bet if I'm reels right now, the only business play would be to let the videos go out, give them a farther reach right now. Today, every reel would have exponent amount of reach. So direct message us or come back next week and answer that question. If you made reels this week to last week, are all of a sudden they having more reach than they did before? It's the only business play. And if not, they should contract me and I'll tell them that should be their play. Okay, Joe, man, I like this picture. I need to get a picture like that. What do you got going on, Joe? Where you weigh in on this? You got some storytelling tips? I'm here. I'm looking. Okay. Yep.
So in short, I would say that we're adding to the data set of audio collection right now for artificial voice in the future. Like that is the platform that we are currently on.
Yep.
Word.
So what's your advice, Joe?
Assume everything's malicious, I guess, from grassroots. You can only whitelist things that are okay. So in the aspect of TikTok, the key recording, that means if you have a crypto wallet on your phone and you have TikTok, guess what? Expect to be bankrupt. Expect that account will be hacked. Same thing goes with Zoom, right? There's certain aspects of Zoom that if you're talking to other people and if you send messages over Zoom, that those are actually accessible to someone that can hack your computer. So assume every device is basically mic'd. Assume that it's not for your use. And if you are in a critical situation where safety is required, that you need to do air gap systems.
All right, man. See, not the smartest guys in the room. That is above my pay grade. What was that? Air gap systems. Is that what you said?
Yeah, air gapping is where you do not connect it to the internet, where it's a completely separate system. So if you do need to have your own CCTV and you don't want anyone to go and access its recordings, then it's got to be held on at your own local server. So they who control the hardware control where everything is stored.
Got it. Thank you, my friend. I know our friend Heather is chomping at the bit over all this algorithms. I mean, she's probably just like doing a dance wherever she's at. Algorithms and data points and all this. So, Heather, as our resident expert, you want to weigh in and tell us what we don't know or what we need to know?
I mean, I don't want to get into like the whole. I have a sick kid at home, so I'm very sleepy. But I don't want to get into the whole like security data issue, because if you've been on social media since the jump of MySpace and Facebook and AOL and Chat AIM and Yahoo Chat, and they already have your information. Like, sorry. So like everybody should just calm down. Like, yeah, you may have shit happen, but if you have your security and you don't use the same password across all entities and you have two-factor authentication on and you are taking the security steps, then you should be good. But about the omnipresence part, if like TikTok goes away, like everybody should have a profile on that social media profile, like TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. If you're a local business, Google My Business, Pinterest, even Reddit. Like, why not? And if one of these profiles goes down, you need to start right now getting your audience from TikTok to Instagram, from Instagram to Facebook. If TikTok goes down, there's multiple platforms that have short form video now, from Facebook Reels to Instagram Reels to Pinterest Pins to YouTube Shorts. I mean, right now, Facebook, it's crazy because I'm about that omnipresence and, utilizing my content across all platforms, because social media is a tool. You shouldn't be beholden to one platform. You should use all platforms platforms to your advantage. That's where I think people screw up, is like they become so like in love with one platform, and it's my home, and like, but that's great, but you're on rented land. They could pool your lease and you could be done. So grab your username, same one across all social media platforms, because if one goes down and you knew me as Heather Cox Codes on one platform, then if Clubhouse goes down, then you'll be like, oh, I knew Heather Cox Codes on Clubhouse. I wonder if she has the same username over on Facebook. And they're going to go look for me, and then they're going to find me, and then they can just continue following my content creation journey. So everybody grab your usernames across all platforms. Like, I do this for all clients. I tell everybody, please do that, because you never know. TikTok could be banned. And I think Dance Bite was the one that you were talking about, Deshaun. That was kind of like the I don't know, knockoff version of TikTok. But yeah, and then if you feel as though that you can't make short form videos, utilize Instagram Reels. They have a great interface. It's a little glitchy sometimes, but then get CapCut. That's completely off of any of these social media profiles. Don't, like I said, like, don't lean in so much to one profile, but lean in to the content creation itself off of the platforms, and then disseminate the information using the platforms as a tool. Okay, I'm done my rant. Goodbye.
I want to jump in here because I have, it has always boggled my mind. It has always confused me. I've always found it baffling that I know people who have either large followings personally, or they have a personal brand, or they have a business following on social media, or they have a business presence on social media, and they have a different username on every single platform, and it has just never made sense
It
to me.
blows my mind.
I don't get it. Right. And I'm sure, Heather, like you brought this up because you see this all the time. I mean, this is something you deal with clients, but like, people are like, oh, how can we find you on social media? And I'm like, at Talex Media LLC. And they're like, oh, is that on Facebook or Instagram? I'm like, it's all of them. It's all of them. It's LinkedIn, it's Facebook, it's Twitter, it's Twitch. It's like any social media platform that gives you a handle, that's the handle. You can find me. Right. Like, I don't, because it's just so easy. And then if somebody knows that handle, they throw that handle into Google, and it's a whole page of my social media results.
Right. And to go further on that, so instead of using the username, you can just have a generalized branded hashtag, and then just direct people, look my hashtag up. Because if you have your hashtag associated with all social media profiles, it's going to come up on Google. It's going to come up on Instagram search. It's going to come up on Facebook search. These are all internal search engines, and you have to optimize to be found across all of them, not just one.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Couldn't agree more. But yeah, it's always, I just had to say, it has always boggled my mind when I've had that conversation and people have said, like, or I hear people with like pretty big platforms saying, I'm this on this platform, I'm this on this platform, I'm this on this platform. And I'm like, what are you doing? What is this, amateur hour? Like, come on. It's obvious. It's just like common sense.
What you have there, Tom, is a growing problem. Every month, every follower, you are just creating a bigger problem for yourself when you have all those different names. Sooner or later, you're going to grow, going to grow, going to grow. And then now I have something that isn't on brand, on message, and now I'm promoting two different things, confusing your audience. Crazy.
You know what I think it is? Here's what I think it's indicative of. And I wonder if anybody else sees this as well. But I think it's indicative of people's inability to be clear on messaging, right? That they think they have to be somebody on each platform rather than just always being authentically themselves, right? Like being relentlessly authentic, like we talk about. But like, I wonder if it's indicative of, or tied to, or if you see a correlation between people's inability to be clear on messaging and clear on their values and their mission as a brand or a business, and their inability to be clear about who they are, which includes like their tag, their hashtags, right? Their handle on social media, their inability to be clear on those things and having different ones on different, because people are like, oh, on Instagram, I do this kind of stuff. And on Facebook, I do this kind of stuff. And I'm like, all you're doing is confusing everyone and showing everyone that you really don't have any idea who you are and what you stand for. Right? I mean, I don't know. Who's seen, Heather, have you seen stuff like that, or anybody else
I
seen
saw Prof
any
T flash.
correlation
So
there?
let's go. Hold on. Prof T, you flashed, and then we'll go to Heather if she wanted to go. So Prof T.
I was just going to share. I'll defer to Heather, and then I'll hop in. I just wanted to share from my point of view with working with clients when I don't know who the hell they are, where they are, and their name is like I love butterflies in July 447222527. I'm like, I don't have the time to like do all of that research, so that bugs me. Go ahead. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Tom.
You're good. Thank you. Good. Butterfly 22621. I'm going to start a business and call it that. I'm going to start a burner account today, and it's going to be Butterfly 2271 and just troll all you guys. Go on, Heather.
That's hysterical. And yeah, I run into that all the time because it is they're confused about their messaging and how they should do it, and everybody thinks that it should be done differently on, like, their brand should be different on from one platform to another, but like that's really confusing because you never know where and I say this all the time, you never know where your customer is going to hop into your funnel. People think of a funnel as like a squeeze page, and you go down in the form, and like then they put their email in, and then you get an auto response, and then that's like the funnel, right? They completed the funnel. But the funnel it could start at any point, from a Google search to watching a video on TikTok to reading a post on Instagram to reading your business card on a bulletin board, right? So you have to think about how that person is going to come into your digital footprint and your digital journey, and then you have to like make sure it's branded across all of it. And I see, like Tom, you said, it's like people get so confused on how they should brand, and I see it all the time, and it's really confusing because if I'm here on Clubhouse and I'm talking to you, Tom, and then I'm like, oh, you know what, I want to learn more about him, and I go over to your Instagram through your Clubhouse bio, and then it's a completely different photo. It makes no sense at all about what you're presenting here on Clubhouse versus Instagram. And then I'm like, wait, is this the real person? Like, are they the same person? I don't know. So yeah, I see it all the time. And I think people just need to get clear on the branding, the color scheme, the tone, and their voice, and like how they want to represent it, and then just represent it across the internet as like one whole. Because that's a web. That's what I'm saying. Webs are connected to each other. So yeah, okay, I'm done my.
Yeah, and the thing is too is it's actually much easier than people think it is, because at the end of the day, all you have to do is just be authentic, just be you, right? Like that's all you have to do. You don't have to try to keep straight who you are on which platform, and like all of this sort of overcomplication of things is completely unnecessary. It makes me think of Simon Sinek's philosophy, or thinking that like people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it, right? And so if all you do is authentically share why you do what you do, which is your mission, right? If you're authentic to your mission across all platforms, then you're going to attract the kinds of people that you want to work with and do business with, and that will want to support your business because they believe in what you're doing. But I think there's tons of people out there who don't even know why they do what they do, who, if you ask them in a sentence, what is your mission, what is your big goal, what do you want to do down the line, right? Like, tell me in one sentence what your overarching mission is. I think a lot of people in business can't tell you, right? And it's something like, full disclosure, it is not like I knew that before I sort of opened my doors as an entrepreneur. Before I left television and started working with businesses, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. It took me a while to really figure it out and figure out what the mission was. I knew I was on a journey, I knew I was on a path, and I knew I wanted to accomplish big things, but it took me a while to figure it out. And finally, after a few years, I finally figured it out. My mission is to humanize the world of business through better communication. That's it. That's what I'm trying to do. That's my big overarching goal. So everything I do is in service of that goal. It's to humanize the world of business through better communication, right? To get businesses to treat people like people instead of data points on a spreadsheet, right? That's my mission. But it took me a while to get clear on that. So it's not something you have to have figured out ahead of time, right? But it is something you should be trying to figure out if you're not. To answer your question, Chris, my buddy Chris is in the chat, and typical like in true to his character fashion, Chris, because he's a wise ass, love him. And he said, just be authentic, but what if you're an asshole? And and my response is, there are other assholes out there that like assholes. So like, be authentic and you'll attract people just like you who believe in being an asshole. So yeah, so hope that answers your question, Chris. And thanks for being here, buddy. Good to see you. But yeah, I just think you gotta figure out your mission, share your why. And like, once you do that, it's really easy to be authentic everywhere you go. Right. But yeah, man, figure
And I
out
also wanted to say, Tom, one thing. What if like you are authentically like scatterbrained and all over the place? That is when you get somebody to help you to get you organized. Because if you're like naturally scatterbrained and you're like, okay, well, one picture over on this profile, one bio over on that profile, that's when you should totally like just hire somebody to help get you organized and optimized and cohesive. And then, you can make the scatterbrained content as much as you want. Just make sure you have cohesive branding of such content.
absolutely. And for crying out loud, share that journey, right? Like, as you go through that process of realizing that you're scatterbrained and you're messing things up and that you need to bring in somebody to help you, share that journey. You will trust me, there are lots of other people out there who are also scatterbrained, who also struggle with those things. So share that journey, give people an opportunity to identify and empathize with you and see you as a human being, right? And then treat them as human beings. Like, it's just so basic, but we get confused and we overcomplicate things and we lose sight of, we can't see the forest for the trees, right? So just share that journey, share why you're doing what you're doing, for crying out loud.
Love it. Love the conversation here. The input's been great. We're moving along. Met a lot of nice people. Okay, let's see who we got here. Not the smartest guys in the room. Okay, we got our friend Elise, Joyce, Brock, Holly. Hold on one second here. Let's see. What do we got here? I'm looking at my phone real close. I was thinking about when we were talking here that using these social medias, they're a distribution channel for your content. That you created great speeches, great courses, great books. I'm a publisher of books, so if all these things go down, I'm like, ha ha ha, got you guys, because we got thousands of books out there already. Ha, score. But I understand, just like all of us sitting on Clubhouse here, people spend hours and hours a day and hours a week on all these different platforms looking for Joyce's story or Prof T's story or Heather's story, and you're either there or you're not. So you can choose for whatever reason to not be on Reels or TikTok or MySpace or the new one that comes out. But, there's billions of people on them. The hashtag book talk has like billions and billions and billions. I think it's like 100 billion views, the hashtag book talk. So think about that potential exposure for your book that you have. Let's say you have 1,000 followers and you consider, well, I wrote a book. How could I get it out to the world? Billions of people are looking at this hashtag book talk. You can decide, well, for these reasons, I'm not going to use it. For these reasons, maybe I will. Distribution channels. So we are going to keep this train rolling. We're going to we got Joyce, then Brock, and then Elise, and then our friend Dimple. So, Joyce, where you weigh in on all this?
Good morning. I am probably not qualified to talk about any of this, but I'm taking in a lot of information. I'm not on TikTok because they keep taking my videos down because I'm in cannabis, which is another story. Yeah, I've been listening to Heather for weeks now, so I do have my own hashtag handle. I've been doing that. I understand the distribution stuff. This is all, to me, it's kind of magic. I don't really understand it, so I appreciate the conversation. I'm just sort of absorbing. I don't have anything to add today. Thanks.
Hey, that's all right. And I wanted to go on to something Heather mentioned about being scatterbrained. Well, if I had an author that was scatterbrained, I might try to figure out how all these things relate. And it could just be that Heather and I share whatever the hell's on my mind today because I'm this age and I want to share that, or because I want to share things that make me smile, or whatever that is. So I'm wondering, sometimes there's a more common bond than you think. 7-2, Jason, what do you got, man?
Oh shoot, I left my mic hot.
No worries. If you wanted to add something, go ahead.
Oh, what I was going to say is, I've learned so much about, the self-branding, and when you leave that hashtag mark, it's like a key, and it opens the door. So, I mean, it really affects so many different messages of how you identify. And I really like what Heather said about, if you've got so many different things going on, how can I really help you or attract you? But one quick point, I went to Barnes and Noble this last weekend, and guess what I saw? TikTok book, a whole section basically of TikTok writers, or writers who've used and promoted through TikTok. So if people are writing a book or trying to distribute, I think that's where you really, really need to start taking notice, because people still use brick and mortar. And whether it be TikTok or another platform, start hashtagging the right way so people get attention to your book.
Preach, brother. Thank you, man. That's what I'm talking about. Imagine the brick and mortar store using TikTok, right? They know what's selling, so they got a little sign in there. So when grandma goes in to buy a present, or somebody goes in with their friends, just like my daughter when she wanted a new curling iron. It's not called a curling iron. It's curling iron. It's not called that. Anybody that curls their hair, do you want to tell me what that is called these days? It just looks
The flat iron or no?
It's not a flat iron. It's just a straight rod that you do something with your hair and make it look like it has little curls or something like that. I don't know. But she sees it on TikTok and then she wants it. And actually, I think Walmart and Target have a section that says seen on TikTok as well. Weird. Okay, we're going to go on. See, you're not getting me off this subject. Okay, Brock, what do you got for us? Brock's got a picture of his cat here. Las Vegas, been in Bitcoin. And I'm reading his profile here. I don't know Brock, so been in Bitcoin. Okay, what's happening, Brock? Where you weigh in on all this?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having the room. And Heather and Tom and everybody are right. And it's good room, good content. First time listener, first time caller. It's a great room, and I'm the I like butterflies. I have a different username on every platform. I don't do content or anything, so I'm mostly just listening. But when I was listening to Tom earlier, I heard something. It was on 60 Minutes or somewhere, which might already lose me credibility. But they were interviewing somebody about the TikTok platform and how it's used and everything. And he was saying in China, there's a version of TikTok where they put out videos about science and math that all the kids are watching. And then they asked the kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? And the number one answer was I want to be an astronaut. And then the version in America is obviously everyone knows what it's like. And they ask kids in America, what do they want to be? And they say an influencer. So you guys have probably heard that before, but I just found it interesting. I'm one of the scatterbrain people that you're talking about. And like Joe said, I am rushing to send all my Bitcoin off my phone because I forgot about that. So hopefully it doesn't get stolen in the next 10 minutes. And then last, I know how to write a little bit of HTML code. So that's all I got. Thanks, guys.
Hey man, good points. Glad you're here. All good stuff. Let's keep this train to Georgia. Why are they going to Georgia in that song? I wonder. Midnight train to Georgia. Does anybody know why? That's what I want to know. Why are they going to Georgia in Midnight Train to Georgia? Does anybody know that? Okay. Nope. That's where my mind goes. See, I'm scatterbrained as well. Elise, what do you got for us? Holly said she's driving.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for pinging me into the room. This is always such a great conversation. And Tom, I love what you said about just being clear about your why. That is such a great message and such a powerful one. And, I myself struggle with being present on social media, mostly because some of my social media has been accessed and inaccessible by me for many years, and also because there's a little bit of a concern about posting so many things and putting some of those things out in the world. But you raise a really good point about engaging with social media and technology by sticking to your why. So I'd love to take a moment to share my why. I've done it a couple of times, but Tom, you've inspired me to do it again. So my why and my purpose for all of the things I do is to empower myself and others to positive action and compassion through my words, my thoughts, my stories, and my action. But sometimes I just got to post a little bit more on social media. So thanks for paying me in the room and keeping me involved.
Elise, we always are glad when you stop by, and hey, good luck on that mission. Stay the course. It sounds like a positive one. It speaks to me personally. I like to say I'm trying to share inspiration, positivity, and smiles 24/7 and help other people do the same. So, however I can do that, whether that's video, whether that's helping somebody else share their content, helping people publish books, well, if I can put a little more content that's positive out into the world, maybe 20 years from now, people will say, I remember back in 2020 when people used to post negative stuff and it was fun to bash other people and stuff like that. The world's not like that anymore. So hopefully me and you and all of us in this room can play a little part in that. So Dimple, what's new? Dimple, how you been?
Hey there. So I am listening in. I suppose I don't know exactly what question we're answering. You hear a lot about TikTok.
We're just talking. That's how this room goes. We are random as shit. So you can go wherever you want to go.
All right, cool. So, with all the big fuss about TikTok going away and what's going to happen, I think it's interesting because I got a text first thing in the morning from a client. And they're like, "Is TikTok gone in the US?" And I thought that was funny because it's like they don't even use it, but of course I've been telling them like they should be using different platforms. So I think if that were to happen, you know, it is a possibility. So I think it's always good to have like a plan B of how you're going to, promote yourself and how you're going to do your marketing if that platform were to go away. Because the same thing happens to people that have gotten banned, that have lost their accounts. And if you don't have another plan, then it's going to be really tough to overcome that. So I think it's always like don't put all your eggs in one basket or all on one platform. Like really diversify because if one thing doesn't pan out, then at least you have other things instead of just putting everything in one basket, giving your all. You never know, like you get banned, it's not even your fault. And then what do you do then? Right? It happens to people all the time. So that's my share for today.
Thank you, Dimple. And I've told this story in here before. I've been there. Two rookie mistakes. One, when I first started, sometimes when you first like log into those accounts, you don't necessarily know you're creating the username that's going to stick with you forever. So I remember when I first started Twitter, I had it was like a mimic of my first Yahoo email. I had no intentions that this was going to be the brand that I was uh, growing. But then I actually TikTok, my followers were doing all right. I had an engaged community. Some local influencers had followed, even some people like John Cena. It was just I was that account was where I wanted it, but I was sharing music and stuff and videos from other platforms. And all of a sudden I got like 100 hits that, what would you call that? Like, what do you call it? Copyright infringement or something like that. 100. And I tried to fight it, but they banned the account, shut it down, and I had to start over from zero. But I had that, and you look at my Twitter is connected here. That's what it was, and now I started over, and is what it is. So I feel you, Dimple. Tom, thoughts on that? And then we got to meet Kevin and Rosa.
I just want to add that we should always back up all our content, whatever we film or record, on a backup hard drive. Whether external or internal, you should always back up no matter what platform goes down. Anything that you make should be backed and saved to an external hard drive, because I remember people saying, "Oh, I was on Twitter Spaces and then I lost my stuff because they deleted it after 30 days or something like that." And I'm like, "Well, why didn't you back up your recording on a hard drive?" And they didn't think about that. It's there for you to save, edit, use whatever you want on multiple surfaces. So don't forget, external hard drives come very valuable.
I gotta admit, see, when we say not the smartest guys in the room, Tom, and I've done that too. I have all these videos. Me and my son did a series, Discovering Inspiration, and I had them on the software where I was recording or doing my editing, and I have like 5 years of these videos, and I deleted them from where I recorded them. Then I needed more storage in my editing thing, so I deleted them there. And now I uploaded them YouTube, but now I don't have the raw files where I could use those to make TikToks and videos like that. Yeah, Tom's shaking his head. I've made a lot of mistakes. I admit it. Go on, Tom.
The rule of thumb from a production professional, right, who I film things for clients, edit them, deliver them, et cetera, here's the rule of thumb. Everything gets backed up in 2 independent places. So that means 2 copies of everything exist. So like all of the things I film for clients, all of the things I film for myself, they exist in at least 2 places, and those 2 places are independent of one another, right? So that can be 2 separate independent hard drives or external hard drives. It can be a cloud storage system that you pay for and a local hard drive. So whatever the case may be, the rule of thumb is 2 places. It's always backed up in 2 places. So if it gets corrupted in one, you always have a clean copy somewhere else. So yeah. So just as a good rule of thumb, if you're creating content, back it up in 2 places. Always. And
the funny thing is, like when I do books, I tell people, put it on a zip drive, put it in your hard drive, write those notebooks, get it from notebooks as quick as you can, email it to your friends. But when it came to video, because that wasn't my world, dumb mistake. And now I see mine is, damn, I'd like to have that content back of, time with the kids and early videos where I was, stuttering every 2 seconds and all distorted and mumbling and whatever. Yep, I'd love to use them again. Tom, okay, we're going to meet 2 more people. 2 more people right now. You're signing off here in a minute. I'll keep the room going for about 5 minutes, but let's go to Kevin. Kevin, where are you weighing in on all this? You got any tips for us?
Okay, I have 0 tips. I normally don't like to come on stage unless I know what the topic is. Like Dimple, I did not know what was going on and what the complete discussion is, but someone said something earlier about the whole idea of being authentic. And so I am going to basically talk about being authentic and realizing what is my driving force and what's keeping me from creating more content. And as a person who's been podcasting for a few years now, I came to the realization that what's holding me back at this point is everything other than creating the content. That is not my passion. That is not my strong suit, if I'm going to be honest. And there are people who truly enjoy all of the process of being a podcaster, making the content, coming up with different ideas, as well as marketing and monetizing well, and the discipline of posting on social media and all the different platforms, all of that kind of stuff. I have zero passion for that. I had done it for years, but I just kind of checked out. And during the pandemic, where one of my co-hosts on one of my podcasts had just his whole life blew up, and we put that show on ice. And then the other show that I was doing with Tachi, who's a regular here, we put on hiatus until we're going to relaunch with some new platform. I basically found on Clubhouse, I still enjoy creating content. I just don't enjoy the other parts of it. So, what I'm looking for at this moment in time, and anybody want to slip into my DMs and tell me if you know one, I'm looking for a podcasting or a podcast matchmaker, because I've come to the realization that I want to still create content, but I need to find partner or partners who enjoy the other aspects of this particular endeavor. And so that's what I'm looking for. Somebody who wants me to just focus on creating the content, coming up with ideas for us, our discussions, what's going to be happening on the show, and someone else who wants to focus on all the other aspects and making this thing happen. If I'm going to be authentic and be honest about what I'm looking for at this moment in time.
Thanks, Kevin. So you looking for somebody to like produce beyond? Is that what you're thinking? Like,
No, basically, I would like to be it all. Truth be told, I love panel shows. I'd like to be on a panel on something that's already the car is already left the driveway and it's on the road, and I just want to basically run alongside of it and jump on that car and, and help it to go, and it gives some gas money and like be along for the ride. But the whole idea of doing everything on my own, no. I feel like that is just no more of that. So I'm looking for a matchmaker. I want to basically find somebody who has ideas, who wants to be a part of something and develop chemistry and find if we have something. But as far as doing everything myself and doing all the marketing and doing all the editing and everything, no. I don't I feel like that's what stopped me from working, and that's why I've enjoyed working and doing so many rooms and things on Clubhouse, because I'm not focused on anything other than creating what I think is really good content. And so I want to find somebody who, oh, well, my focus is all these other aspects of it. I'm like, all right, let's put this puzzle together. So that's what I'm looking for at this moment in time.
I feel you, man. I live in this space where I study flow and things like that. And where I'm the happiest is helping people create and thinking nutty ideas and how to move them forward and stuff like that. So my time of the day where I can spend time doing that rather than minutia of this or that. I feel you, brother.
Oh my God, brainstorming is amazing. One of the first things I did when I came on Clubhouse was that I'd be in rooms with people that wanted to start podcasts and talking with them about what they're passionate about and helping them come up with a format for their show, a name for their show. I enjoy that whole process. But there's so many other parts of this I don't like. And so it's interesting when I meet people who like all of the process or most of the process, but focusing in on what it is that brings me joy, what I enjoy doing. I'm doing that now and trying to find a way to get rid of the parts that I do not like.
Hey, Dom, can I say something real quick?
Yeah, wait, hold on, man. Let's see here, Dan. Dan, be cool 1 second. Our dear friend Tom, our mighty moderator Tom, and host with the most has to jump. So let's let him do his thing, and then we'll jump out. Back to you, my friend. Go on, Tom.
Thanks, Dom. Sorry, Dan. Dom's going to keep the room open for everybody in here, so never fear. The room is not ending. The live stream is going to end, though, because I manually control that. There's no way for me to schedule it. And I have to run because I have to go speak in person in front of a group of folks today. We're doing a little lunchtime presentation for some business folks in the Hudson Valley here to help them learn about creating their content and helping move their businesses forward. One of the things I'm going to talk about in that presentation, what I want to leave you guys with today, is a little storytelling technique that comes courtesy of Trey Parker and Matt Stone, and it's something I think we can dig into deeper on this show maybe next week. Dom, let me know what you think. But this little technique is called but therefore. And basically, it's really simple. Whenever you're writing a story, whenever you're telling a story, we all have stories that we tend to tell often, right? Or stories that we often share with other folks. Whenever you're doing that, whenever you're engaged in that, think about all the places where you say and then, right? Because really what you're doing when you're bridging a story with and then, what you're doing is you're essentially just reciting facts, right? You're giving a recitation of the facts. You're basically rehashing a timeline for people. And what you should be doing in order to lend to give the plot motivation, to give it some ups and downs and some tension, what you should be doing is bridging sections of a story with but and therefore. And I'm going to give you, and or adding to a story with but and therefore. And I'm going to give you a 1-sentence story as an example of this, right? So the first sentence is, my wedding cost $25,000 and my divorce cost $50,000. Right? That's a 1-sentence story. Doesn't tell you much. It's just a recitation of some facts. But if you apply the but therefore, you can say something along the lines of, my wedding cost $25,000 and my divorce cost $50,000, but both were worth every penny. And all of a sudden you learn a lot more about the person speaking. You learn a lot more about their state of mind, about their emotional state. It gives you something to identify with. So whenever you're telling a story, whenever you're writing a story, whenever you're listening to other people tell stories, have that in the back of your mind. Use but therefore as a way to bridge your stories, as a way to give tension to the plot, as a way to give motivation to the story, and just as a way to make your storytelling a little bit better. So I hope that helps everybody today. I hope everybody has a wonderful day. It was a great conversation. I'm so sorry I have to jump early. I will miss you guys for the rest of the day. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Dom, for keeping the room open. And I will see you guys next Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Until then, everybody have a great week. Adios.
Tom, we love you, brother. So we'll catch you next week.
Bye,
We're
Tom.
gonna be here for a little bit. So come on, let's go. We had our friend. So let me reset. We talked about